McGwire.
Say hello to my left front. Bottom four off Chris Peters. Big Mac's first of the spring solo shot. Only hit allowed by Peters in 3 innings of relief. Cardinals lose to the Expos 5-3.
Mark McGwire would take a 7-hop single, a dying quail, an opposite field flare, a bloop, a bleeder, a little bingo, anything. Big Mac 0 for 10 this season, on his way to taking BP with the pitchers. Swing's not really the problem. It's that rickety right knee of his. Tony La Russa floating the idea of playing a slugger just 3 at-bats in 7 innings a game, or just giving him every 3rd game off. McGwire in the starting lineup Wednesday against the Rocks. 2nd inning, Ray Langford facing Pedro Stasio. That one's going a long way. Larry Walker, he jumps! Langford is rolling around, stops at 3rd. Yep, home run, you get to come home. You're 4th, 1-zip Cardinals. Bottom 3, 1-1, runner on 3rd, Fernando Vina, leadoff hitter. Gets by Todd Hollinsworth. Mike Matheny scores. Vina runs to 3rd. He'll stop at 3rd because it was not a home run. It was a triple. 2-1 Cardinals. Bottom 7. McGwire now 0 for 12. Not anymore. And the other way for Big Mac. He's got power to all fields, though. Home run number 555. 200 behind Hammer and Hank. Cards win at 3-1. 5th straight win for the Redbirds. We're outscored 30-11 in the at Big Mac 2nd. Kept the kid Albert Pujols in the cleanup spot. McGwire, not your classic move the runner, hit and run, get a bunt down number 2 kind of hitter, but 555 career home runs. He seems to handle the bat well enough. Mac said it felt like opening day, which it almost was last time he played. Actually, April 15th, his day in the field. Top first, Jeff Jenkins up, Matt Morris, and Jenkins gives it a long ride, but it is just foul, so close. Next pitch from just foul to definitely foul. Morris hits Jenkins, and Jenkins has some words. These two teams, they threw at each other a bunch last week. Players finally pour out of the benches, presumably not to dance. Jeremy Burnett's had a hat, and then Bobby Bonilla knocks it away. Chris Pronger, the Blues captain, was there, and of course, well, he had a pop and a lady, and so although experience not really available in this kind of a situation, Pronger, though, did enjoy the day.
I was getting all excited when I saw the benches clear. I thought we were going to have a hockey game.
Coloring at the other, and then
skate on. McGwire, he's got to hold Jenkins back. Tony La Russa, he's also going to need to be held back because he starts jawing with Bernie Brewer. And if you watch here, well, don't watch too close because we're going to lose our PG-13 rating. Burnett's, Benil, La Russa, all ejected, and ejected. Back to the game. Big Mac's first at-bat. Man on, Paul Rigdon. Mark David McGwire, you get in his house right now. 6-4-3 double play. Bottom 6, Cards up 2-0. McGwire at the plate again against Rigdon. And this time McGwire hits number 70 of the season.
What?
Well, it was like number 2. But still, he's got 556 for his career now. It was actually only his 4th in the regular season since July 1st of last year. He comes out to take the curtain call because the fans are kind of partial to him.
The Subway Series.
Baseball tonight, just playing along with you. St. Louis, Kansas City, bottom 1, no score. Mike Sweeney.
No hitter. 2 outs in the 7th. That might be a double.
Pretty good hitter, that guy. All over the field. Nowhere to play.
3 for 4 in the game. Ray Sanchez scores 1-zip. Speaking of good hitters, it's 3-zip. No outs, no one on. The bubble is starting to blow, and McGwire bursts one. 425 feet later it lands.
Well, Chris Wilson has a nice future as a pitcher, but he'll be able to tell his kids, I got one a little up to mark, and he hit it 900 feet. Look, right?
Cards and White Sox, John Garland feeding McGwire, and he was famished. The bomb to center. McGwire said this is basically spring training for him, and it's gone. His 4th of the year, 3-1 Cards. Bottom 7, 4-3, bases bloated. As we show you right there, painstakingly. Pinch hitter Bobby Bonilla standing in, and Bobby Bo snapping out of an 0 for 12 slump with what is commonly referred to as a grand slam. The 9th of his career. The Cards open it up. It's 8-3. McGwire 4 for 5, including his 2nd home run of the night. 3rd in 3 games. The Cards win at 10-3 to snap a 4-game losing streak. It's McGwire's first multi-homer game since last May when he hit 3 against Phils. The White Sox.
I think that even notices when they put a shift on him. He's thinking about the feet, not the infield. 58th of his career. And we'll go to 6, trailing 3-1.
Catastrophe in which their beloved Cubs lost 97 games. Now, 8 months later, the Cubbies are no longer lovable losers. They came into St. Louis owning the second best record in baseball, a season-high 16 games over 500. To Bush, Sammy Sosa against Darryl Kyle. Sosa coming in with 65 strikeouts, 7th most in the NL, and Kyle knows all about that. Top 4 tied at 1. Kyle again facing Sosa. Sosa just not thrilled. Sammy came in hitting .374 in his last 26 games. Bottom 5, still tied at 1, Kevin Tapani. Hits Jim Edmonds with pitch with a man on. Don Baylor knows who's up next. That would be this man, Big Mac. 4th homer in 5 games for Mark McGwire. This one a 3-run jack, his 20th in 35 career games against the Chicago Cubs. Sammy looking on. McGwire 6th this year. It's 4-1 St. Louis. Same score in the 6th. Sammy inspired. Sosa's 4th homer in 3 games. 21st of the year. Number 407 of his career, and the 6th time ever Mac and Sammy has homered in the same game. Cubs within
walks ordered by San Francisco manager Dusty Baker.
Catastrophe in which their beloved Cubs lost 97 games. Now, 8 months later, the Cubbies are no longer lovable losers. They came into St. Louis owning the second best record in baseball, a season-high 16 games over 500. To Bush, Sammy Sosa against Darryl Kyle. Sosa coming in with 65 strikeouts, 7th most in the NL, and Kyle knows all about that. Top 4 tied at 1. Kyle again facing Sosa. Sosa just not thrilled. Sammy came in hitting .374 in his last 26 games. Bottom 5, still tied at 1, Kevin Tapani. Hits Jim Edmonds with pitch with a man on. Don Baylor knows who's up next. That would be this man, Big Mac. 4th homer in 5 games for Mark McGwire. This one a 3-run jack, his 20th in 35 career games against the Chicago Cubs. Sammy looking on. McGwire 6th this year. It's 4-1 St. Louis. Same score in the 6th. Sammy inspired. Sosa's 4th homer in 3 games. 21st of the year. Number 407 of his career, and the 6th time ever Mac and Sammy has homered in the same game.
Walks ordered by San Francisco manager Dusty Baker. That was 4 more free passes than Big Mac received from any other team. Now with Bonds chasing history and on pace to smash McGwire's mark, would St. Louis skipper Tony La Russa be issuing some intentional walks and maybe a little bit of payback? Let's find out. Giants in Friday for the first 3 at Busch. It's our Sports Center showcase. Bonds coming in with 532 career home runs. McGwire with 560. Nice smell it, did you know? Top first, Dustin Hermanson. Sure enough, walks Bonds on 5 pitches. Barry's 67th walk of the season. 3 batters later, the bases are loaded for Benito Santiago. And he bloops Hermanson's pitch to left. Bonds and Jeff Kent going to come in 2-0 Giants. Santiago still productive at 57 years old. That's a joke. He's only 36. Bottom 1, watch the pitcher's reaction. Jim Edmonds and Livan Hernandez knew it was gone. One of 2 homers for Edmonds on Friday. He's now up to 12 on the year. Top second, Rich Aureli up for San Fran. He hits it to third. Albert Pujols bottles it, throws late to second. Fernando Venus throw late to first. Ramon Hernandez scores 3-1 Giants. Next batter, it's a free pass for Bonds. Rather than face Barry, the Cardinals elect to load the bases. Next up, Hermanson making a habit of this, walks Jeff Kent, 4-1 San Fran. Next batter, Armando Rios with the bases loaded.
That one is hit deep into right center field. Way back there. Adios, pelota. The grand slam.
Hermanson tagged for 8 runs, 7 earned in 2 2/30s, 1 5 in his last 6 starts. Top 3, Mike Matthews walks Bonds. Bonds saw only 2 strikes in his first 3 at-bats Friday. Top 5, Mike James gets him to ground into the 6-3 DP. Still 8-1 Giants, though. Top 8 now 9-3. Jason Christensen blows a fastball by Barry. Bonds Friday 0 for 2 with 3 walks, 1 intentional. Bottom 8, Big Mac. Taking Livan Hernandez to left, 2-run shot. McGwire 7th. He was 2 for 3 Friday, but Hernandez gets the win with a 7-hit complete game. 10-5 Giants. They win for the 9th time in 10 games.
2 home runs away from Reggie Jackson. And when he gets that second home run, it'll be his 200th home run wearing the Cardinal uniform. Become only the 3rd player in Major League history to have 200 home runs in each league.
And McGwire, not exactly a St. Louis Cardinal lifer. He's been around for 4 years with him.
When you hit 70 in 1 year, you get to 200 in a hurry.
1-2 pitch. In the air, left field, bye-bye. See you later, Slump.
That is definitely a slump buster. 14th time he has hit a grand slam, and probably the most meaningful one in his career.
And that's going to be a changeup. It looked like it was a changeup down and away. McGwire, an excellent low ball hitter. He reaches for it, shows you the strength of this guy right here.
You know, Rick, even with the bad knee, you could see it. Instead of having that back leg planted and driving off it, the back leg gives. But you're right, he's so strong he can hit it out.
Look out. Old Mackey is back. A 6-run fourth highlighted by the slam.
Today, and he will try and accomplish what Steve Woodard could not, and that is keep the big redhead in the ballpark. Mark McGwire leads it off. Breaking ball. Some brass doing that. McGwire hit a lazy off-speed pitch, 409 feet last time.
Paul Shuey coming.
432 slump. Lotriman, AF, great feat of the game.
Series minus Gibson and Lolich. Top 5 Tigers lead 2-zip. Man on. Darryl Kyle facing Bobby Higginson, who had 4 knocks and 5 trips in this one. Roger Cedeno, speedy. He would score. Tigers take a 3-zip lead. Bottom 7, Cards trail 7-0. Add one, though. Jeff Weaver gives one up to Mark McGwire. His 563rd homer ties Reggie Jackson for 6th all-time. McGwire's 9th of the year. Bottom 9, bases Chuck. Matt Anderson against Albert Pujols. Bobby Higginson, are you out there? Yes, and my goodness, what a catch. Saves the game, and the Tigers win it 7-5. The Eldricks end an 8-game road losing streak.
They talked about some knee problems. He's had some problems with his feet and made some adjustments with his stance to try to get more comfortable at home plate. You see a guy just missing pitches like Big Mac did there on that first fastball. I mean, in 1998, he didn't miss that pitch. That was one of 70 home runs that he hit out of the park. You wonder if the adjustments have not taken the baseball away from where he thinks it is.
Inside corner strike to him, 0-2. Now here's a guy hitting 197, one of the game's great heroes, who is a .267 career hitter. That's where the talk about embarrassment came earlier by McGwire, and for a couple of days stories about maybe retiring. He later almost immediately backed off that and said, no, I'm not talking about retirement. I'm just saying I got to play better. He's not going to stay in the game as a 200 hitter. He's just not going to do that. He's too proud as a baseball player.
Well, he's gone through that before in Oakland. And his friends rallied beside him. Guys like Dave Stewart helped pull him out of that. He just got so much pride. He expects so much out of himself.
Difference now is he's 37. Not 32, 33 anymore.
And who knows?
Yeah, you don't. You don't know. He doesn't know.
For a hitter, it's all about his eyes. The great ones have the ability to pick up the baseball in the rotation a little bit quicker than the others. And you start to lose that. And then a lot of bad things start to happen.
2-ball, 2-strike count. They've got the shift on in the infield as they move the second baseman Vina over to the shortstop side. Won't matter much. If he hits it, it won't be anywhere near them.
Put him up there on that train track.
It should be a Bijou, rather, moved over there in the infield. 3-2 delivery. See what we meant? Mark McGwire, way back left field, and goodbye home run. His 11th home run of the season. Number 565.
How about these baseball fans here in Houston with that standing ovation? You've got to love it. Just for respect for what Big Mac has done for the game of baseball, bringing so many fans back into the ballpark after the strike of 1994. That's the same pitch that he saw on the first pitch of the at-bat that he just missed. Well, he didn't miss it again.
Game in Houston ever. 12 hours later, both teams back at it again. Matt Morris and Wade Miller, the mound men in the crosshairs at Home Run Field, the house that Dick Cheney built. Bottom of the first, Lance Berkman against that aforementioned Morris. Base hit, Jose Vizcaíno come on down. We're tied at 1. A couple of runs in the first inning. Berkman, 87 RBI now. Bottom 3, same score, runners on second and third with 2 outs for Moises Alou. Swinging. Alou, no hits, 23-game hit streak over. Top 5 still tied at 1. Albert Pujols trying to bunt his way on. Wade Miller, nice grab. Tied at 1 through 5. Pitchers duel, same score, top 6, 2 on for Mark McGwire, and he got it. Deep to straight away center field. Up the hill and gone. 12th of the year for McGwire. Cards win it 4-1 on the 3-run shot. Only 5 runs and 10 hits in this one, but one very large 441-foot blast by McGwire, who now sits 7 shy of Harmon Killebrew for 5th place on the all-time list. I thought maybe if they didn't catch it, maybe I'd get a triple, said McGwire, who has only 6 of those in his career. Said Tony La Russa, he's a clutch hitter, and he's starting to feel good.
McGwire steps in. That's good world to left. A solo shot. McGwire's 13th of the season, number 567 of his career, and his only hit and 11 at-bats. Bottom 6, McGwire with 1 on. Wade Miller rings him up with the heat. Miller, 8 innings, 1 earned.
And then Mark McGwire on an 0-2 count. Facing Ron Malone. Would it? Could it? Indeed, out it goes. 568 career home runs. 5 behind Harmon Killebrew for 5th all-time in the Cards in a lapper. 10-2 the final score. 7 the last 2 years. That's 3 left. In the 4th, Mark McGwire. Yeah, too high. What do you mean too high? That's what Kevin Tapani. I love that movie. 15 on the year for McGwire. It's a 1-1 ball game. Now this is a dilemma. People will mock you if you hold on to it. That's fantastic with that. One word of advice for him, eBay. And then in the ninth, McGwire again off Todd Van Poppel. A little insurance run there. It was a 2-1 ball game. McGwire 2 for 4. He's hitting 198 going into the game. But his last 6 hits, all home runs. 1 out, rather. Nobody on for Mark McGwire. This against Todd Van Poppel. As McGwire is getting closer to Harmon Killebrew. Too high. What do you mean too high? Out it goes. 571, too shy of Killebrew for 5th on the all-time list. Bottom of the 7th, Sammy Sosa goes deep off Dave Veers. First time these two have ever gone with home runs in the same inning.
And Mark McGwire has hit 3 home runs already in this series, including a big one yesterday that put the Cardinals ahead of the 7th.
And John, but if you watch him, his last 7 hits have been home runs. But all the pitches are in the middle of the plate. What McGwire's had lately is not any consistency. Before, he could hit any pitch out of the ballpark. Not right at this moment. Because of his sore knee, he can only hit mistakes out of the ballpark. If they stay out of the middle of the plate, it's tough for him to handle pitches.
McGwire leads off the bottom of the 4th. Flash bulbs pop. And he hits one a mile high, but out of play. 0-1 the count. We are scoreless. Braves had a great chance in the first, but couldn't get anything done. Wow. Wow. That's 8 hits in a row that have been home runs. Number 18 for McGwire.
Fans here come to know exactly what's going on as soon as the ball leaves McGwire's bat. He hits them so high, they know they're not coming back. About halfway up the grass embankment beyond the 402 mark. That was skyrocket. He's within 1 of Harmon Killebrew.
Let's see if Edmonds did the same thing. Nope. Close, but no cigar.
Now he gets to more balls than he ever did before. Not only getting to that ground ball, he knows it's going to be a tough throw to get his body reversed all the way across the infield to first. Polanco hustling, Sanchez hustling, and that's just a good play all the way around. It just didn't happen to work out for the St. Louis Cardinals.
And here's Mark McGwire with the shift on, with the runner at first. Second baseman Marcus Giles is to the shortstop side of the bag. With the 0 for 2, McGwire has fallen below the dreaded Mendoza line. There's the shift.
But look at where they playing in the outfield.
Right, pretty
they playing the opposite way. As far as the center field is concerned, everybody else kind of straight up. But that's what the statistics show you. When he hits it in the air, he hits it to the opposite field.
Now, why are we showing this? You know what that guy has in his hand? A 3. So if McGwire hits a homer, we're ready to go to 573 immediately.
That number's taken. Killebrew.
Well then, do we get this guy busy? Yes! Say hello to the man who's now tied for 5th all time on the home run list. Mark McGwire and Harmon Killebrew at 573. They come to see him hit home runs. He now has 573 of them. Tying one of the all-time greats, Harmon Killebrew.
That's just tremendous class there on the part of Greg Maddux.
Yes.
He stayed off the mound, never even thought about throwing that pitch until Big Mac got his due.
Looking right in the dugout the whole time, even though he's annoyed that he's now on the short end of it.
Fifth, it's Harmon Killebrew. There you go. And Mark McGwire. Mark McGwire at 572 until this pitch, and this only his second home run in his career off Greg Maddux. Does it in style. 573, and the Cardinals get the win as well. 4-0. Darryl Kyle was superb. Buck, what do we know?
Some of you joined us, and I keep saying wink, wink about the error on a ball hit by McGwire to start last inning's 4-run rally for St. Louis. He hit a screamer down to third that Ventura could not come up with, and the official scorer here, who evidently is Brooks Robinson, called it an error. So instead of a hit for McGwire to start the inning, Ventura is charged with his 11th error of the season. That was in the fourth. And now McGwire has a count of 2-1.
Here is the ball hit by Mark the last time up. That ball down. McGwire, a notorious low ball hitter.
Yeah, the new strike zone, or the quote-unquote new strike zone, has bothered McGwire as much as anybody as he goes into right. Back is Lawton to wave goodbye. And with that, Mark McGwire is in 5th place all alone on the all-time home run list with number 574. And oh, by the way, it's 6-2 St. Louis here in the 5th. His first home run of the season was to right, and his 20th home run of the season is to right as he gets number 574. And now his sights are set on Frank Robinson. He's make it 12 away from tying Robinson for 4th on the all-time list.
That pitch looked like it was below the knees, about mid-shin high. McGwire, a good golfer when he golfs and when he hits. Probably knee high. 574.
And that means his last 10 hits. Because that
three coming into Big Shea, tied up with Harmon Killebrew now. Mark McGwire next up. Mark McGwire and Frank Robinson at 586. 6-3, the final score card. Did that not get them into the race? We could find ourselves in one of the greatest baseball cities in America in October. McGwire. That's a little transition to Mark McGwire's at bat off Acevedo. What's the pitch? Now, in Milwaukee, now Bernie Brewer slides down into Beer. What do they do in Cincinnati? They slide into a cement pit. Blue collar town. Where's that Bernie town? It's on YMCA with a men at war with architecture.
No, it was men at war.
Career 5th on the all-time list. Hank Aaron number 1, Babe Ruth 2nd, Willie Mays 3rd, Frank Robinson 4th. Mark McGwire is 8 home runs away from tying Frank Robinson. 0-2 pitch hit well to center field. And Mark McGwire has homered in his 39th Major League ballpark. His 25th home run of the year, career blast number 579, has St. Louis in front 1-0.
So the injury to Fernando Vina winds up costing the Pirates eventually. Now that's 25 home runs and 260 at-bats. That's a pretty good ratio, as you would expect. And pretty good power for a leadoff man. Goes downstairs and gets a pitch that's low and away out of the strike zone, but he has that tremendous reach.
To the 3rd by way of Mark McGwire's 25th home run of the year.
So here's Mark McGwire, who was struck out twice tonight against Ron Vallone. Maybe not this time. Way back to left. Forget about it. You see, strikeout, bomb. Mark McGwire. Home run number 580. Home run number 26 on the year. And the Cardinals have a 3-0 lead. Short porch, no porch.
Well, we mentioned it earlier. We thought McGwire might have a big night tonight because of the smile on his face by Tony La Russa putting him back at home in that there. Goodbye. A 2-run shot has given the Cards a 3-0 lead behind Darryl Kyle. And he's going to face a guy in Mr. McGwire who can hit some flames. 3 infielders again to the left side of second base. Of course, they didn't come into play when he deposited over the roof his last at bat. Those numbers that we saw on Dotel do tell the whole story on his year. They're comparing him to Mariano Rivera. And Mariano was the setup man for the New York Yankees, and John Wetland was the closer. Dotel setting up for Billy Wagner.
Fly ball by McGwire. Back it goes. Back. Goodbye! Big Mac is back. 2 home runs tonight, 27 on the year, 581 for his career. I think that third spot fits him just fine.
For a long time, Mark McGwire and Tony La Russa have had a special relationship. The opportunity for McGwire to go back home to hit in that third spot was there tonight, with Ron Vallone being a left-handed starting pitcher. McGwire had success. He was 4 for 12 off Vallone, but 4 of those hits, all 4 of them, were home runs. He got Vallone in the top of the 5th inning, and now he gets Dotel in the top of the 8th.
I mean, his just draw ring, don't they? Third time he's hit 2 this year, 67th in his career that it's been a double Big Mac.
That team could become real scary if he heats up. 6-0.
What do we say? Flame ball thrower, flame ball hitter.
Until the cork coming out of the champagne bottle. Now, if the Cards could quiet the folks in the ticket office who announced Wednesday playoff tickets go on sale Monday at 8 a.m. Time to let the spectacle of the SportsCenter Showcase highlight wash over you. It's the Cardinals. Astros at Enron. Top first, no score. Runner on second. Mark McGwire strikes out on some high cheese against Ron Vallone. Top second, no score. Darryl Kyle ground. Look at Craig Biggio making the stop and throwing out the pitcher. Good thing he did that. It cost him $5. Top third, no score. McGwire again strikes out against Vallone. Bottom 4, Astros down 1-0. They got 2 on. Darryl Kyle in a jam against Lance Berkman. Oh, that is the nasty deuce. Look at that. Big hook. We still like Lance a lot. Next batter, Richard Hidalgo. He missed. And now Orlando Merced. Kyle, that'd be a home run if we were playing in a silo. We're not. They're playing at Enron. Kyle, 4 hits, no runs, 10 Ks in 7 innings. Top 5, Cards up 1-0. McGwire against Vallone. And that time, he got it. 2-run homer. McGwire 5 for 15 in his career against Vallone. All 5 hits are home runs. Look at that. Up by the railroad tracks. Cards are up 3-0. Top 8, Cards up 4-0. McGwire against Octavio Dotel.
Fly ball by McGwire. Back it goes. Back. Goodbye!
Mercy. Number 581. Cards win it 5-1. Now just 3.5 out of first in the Central. Kyle, 7 shutout innings. His ERA had been up around 5 over his last handful of starts. McGwire, as I said, 581 homers. He was 1 for his last 19 with 10 Ks before that first drive, so he's kind of getting off the schneid, although his season average still 185. That's a winner.
We can jump on his back for a month, and that can happen quite easily. And we're real excited to see him get going, and we know that all it takes is a little bit of something positive and a little bit of momentum for him. and he can carry us. And I think that's something we really need to focus on, is playing each one and not really looking at the wild card, or not really looking at trying to win the division, but just going out and playing good baseball. And if we do, at the end, we'll be there. I think people were counting us out about 40 games ago and said we'd never be here. And I think we proved them wrong, and hopefully we can finish it up.
Through games on Tuesday, July.
Keep an eye on how Todd Ritchie attacks Mark McGwire in the study of this matchup.
Locked him up with the fastball inside after throwing him a lot of outside stuff. Osic's going to move outside on the outside corner. And then watch, as everybody else watches, Big Mac hit it over the Pirate bullpen.
Career blast number 582.
Keith Osick sat up on the outside part of the plate, and Todd just simply didn't get it out far enough.
Mark McGwire is 2 for 20 against the Pirates this year. His 2 hits, home runs.
See, that ball never got outside. A little bit up, a little bit in, and a lot out of here.
The Division Series on Fox, presented by Budweiser, is brought to you by Budweiser with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. By Nissan. Nissan introduces the totally new V6 Ultima, the cure for the common car. And by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
The roof is on. And Morris is in the dugout after a scoreless first inning, and it's Schilling's turn to go back to the hill. Mark McGwire first up, first pitch swinging. Strike one. McGwire, 1 out of 8 in this series, had a single in yesterday's game, was hitless in 3 at-bats against Schilling in game 1. It'll be McGwire, Renteria, and Matheny. If anybody gets on the pitcher's spot, Morris. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mark McGwire, you know the story by now. Mark McGwire is tired of the story by now with his regular season, which was really hard to figure as he fouls it off the end of the bat. Here's a guy who had a total of 56 hits, 29 of which left the park, 118 strikeouts and 299 at-bats, and his confidence dropped through the floor. But if you're Tony La Russa, how can you play a Game 5 without McGwire in your lineup? Here's a 1-2. Second strikeout for Schilling, and right outside this happy little dome, Albert Pujols leads it off, and that's strike 1.
That was the Wells Fargo wagon, wasn't it not?
That was it. 0-1 the count on Albert Pujols, who bounced into a force out his first time up. It'll be Pujols, Edmonds, and McGwire for the Cardinals here in the 4th. 1-1.
We were right earlier when Matt Morris was looking at that thumb. You can see right there, there is some blood on that right thumb. It's a little late in the season to be getting a blister. However, if you don't keep those calluses shaved down, and what can happen is, and I'm sure you folks know it, maybe not on your pitching fingers, but other places.
2 balls and a strike. Schilling pitching to Albert Pujols. Little floater, caught. Tony Womack, 1 out.
Timed and plucked out of the air.
That'll make you drag your feet down the first baseline as Tony Womack got way up for that first out. Another big defensive play in this game.
That was dunking height right there. Woo.
Here's Edmonds. A strikeout victim his first time up with runners at the corners, 2 out to end the top of the first. Strike one on a breaking ball. Edmonds, another one. This time it's Counsell, 2 out.
Cardinals are thinking, what's going on here? 2 leaps, 2 outs. Bookend line drives. Caught by Womack and Counsell.
Now it's McGwire with the bases empty. 98. Four home runs for McGwire in his career against Curt Schilling. That'll get out of play. 0-2. McGwire is playing in his 42nd career postseason game. He has 4 home runs in postseason games, and this crowd is really into it now.
Continuing to stay among the top rungs of that ladder.
Where Womack and Counsell just went to get the first 2 outs of this inning. McGwire becomes the 4th strikeout victim for Curt Schilling. The Diamondbacks #1 in the league in defense this season, showing it on the 14th of October. Bottom of the 4th, no score. The first pitch, 97 miles per hour from Schilling, strike 1. Only 1 hit in 10 at-bats now for McGwire. He has struck out twice tonight. Cardinals 1 swing away from tying this game, 1-0 Arizona in the 7th inning. 0-2 on McGwire, 98 miles per hour from Schilling. A lot of head shaking by McGwire as he digs back in. 0-2. Dustin Hermanson, who threw 3 perfect innings in yesterday's game 4, is getting loose for the Cardinals out in their bullpen. Here's a 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes to a man who has hit 583 career home runs. Randy Johnson still in the dugout as opposed to the bullpen. Jacket on, we're in the 7th. McGwire leading off. That'll get back and out of play.
He was looking for that high fastball. Got up under it. Once again, if McGwire beats you, opposing pitchers think it's going to have to be on a pitch like this, a high rider.
Tony La Russa putting McGwire in the lineup because of that chance. 1 flick of those mammoth wrists, he could tie the game. Stays alive. The count stays 2-2. There's the potential there, and there's also awareness on the part of Schilling or whoever is on the mound that McGwire is lurking. Although Mark during the regular season hit only 187. Strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. Edmonds 2 home runs in this series. He's gone deep in 2 consecutive games leading into this one. A 1-1 game in the 9th inning of the decisive 5th game. Edmonds up the middle, and the go-ahead run is on. So we'll ask the question the other way. We've been talking about Tony La Russa's moves all night. If you bother to have Randy Johnson getting ready, why not Johnson against Edmonds?
And you're going to have a pinch hitter for Mark McGwire also.
So Mark McGwire, with 3 strikeouts tonight, is going to be lifted for the pinch hitter, Kerry Robinson.
Your point is well taken, though, Joe. I mean, why have Randy Johnson up if you're not going to bring him in? He's still up. But the one guy, perhaps of all the Cardinal hitters, that you want Randy Johnson pitching to is Jim Edmonds.
But Edmonds is on with a hit, and Robinson will be at the plate. He's not up there to hit the ball out of the park. He's up there to try to bunt the go-ahead run down to second base.
Because he could have tried to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
He's hit a few in his lifetime.
He has.
So Mark McGwire shows you what kind of a year he has had. Being called back to the bench, lifted for the pinch hitter, Kerry Robinson, bunting situation or not. That didn't happen prior to this year.
Nope.
A tremendous game here in the 9th inning. Go-ahead run at first with nobody out. And the bunt goes to first. Sacrifice is good. 5-4. And the go-ahead run is at second with 1 out.
Shortstop, Edgar Renteria.
Mark McGwire high-fiving Kerry Robinson, not pouting over on the bench as Robinson got the bunt down.
A perfect bunt. Matt Williams could have gone to second base, but it's a risky play. He takes the sure out at first.
Now let's think about the All-Star game at Fenway Park in '99. In the span of 24 hours, you had arguably the best hitter of all time, Ted Williams, surrounded by today's players who refused to get off the field when they were asked, for they knew they were in the presence of greatness. And then the night before, perhaps the most prolific power hitter of all time, Mark McGwire. He amazed his peers in the crowd with that display during the home run hitting contest. It was a 24-hour period, folks, the likes of which we will never see again. Earlier today, Rich Eisen spoke exclusively with the now retired Redbird.
When did you first pick up a bat?
Well, God, I think it was probably around 8 years old, I think. And I remember coming to my parents and asking them to play, and they didn't want me to play. They wanted me to play soccer. And then my first real game was when I was 10 years old, and my first at bat, I hit a home run. So, and it turns out, which I found out the other night, that my last at bat in the big leagues was a home run. So it's pretty cool how things have worked out.
How many times did you go up to the plate wanting to hit a home run? Zero. Never did that.
No. You can't, a guy cannot tell you to your face that he goes up and tries to hit a home run and did it. There's no way. You can't do it. You're doing something totally out of character, what you're trying to accomplish. Once you go up to the plate is you see the ball and you try to hit the ball right back at the pitcher's chest. And then you let it take its course.
Do you have any idea how many games you've missed on the DL in your career? Take a guess.
No.
None?
No.
How about 335 games missed on the DL?
Damn.
Yeah.
It's a lot of games.
That is a lot of games, and yet you still hit 583 home runs. Do you ever sit around and think what might have been?
No, I've never been like that. You're dealt what's dealt, and I was dealt being injured for quite a few years. But the great thing about that is I overcame it. I had a great run for 5 years. 95 through 98, really.
Did you think that you had a chance at Aaron?
Yeah. I did, but I just there's no way I can do it. There's just, that's why I'm stepping aside. I mean, it's that simple.
Favorite home run you ever hit?
Well, I mean, there's so many. I mean,
there's 583.
Yeah.
How about that? Well, plus one in the World Series. You won a World Series game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as a childhood dream, it had to be the World Series home run. I mean, what kid that doesn't play baseball goes out on the street and sits there and goes, bottom of the ninth, 3-2 count, here comes the pitch, boom, long drive. That's what you dream about it. It happened in this year's World Series with Jeter. It's just unbelievable. When that happened in '88, I'm running around the bases. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Childhood dream.
That sort of stuff happened in slow motion?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, and you brought it to memory the other night watching the tape. I mean, it's just, I remember seeing Bob Watson coming in, and at that time the bash was a huge thing. At the time I didn't know my own strength, but I think he had a bruise on his forearm for a long time, because if you replay that thing, I crushed it.
So 62 isn't your...
Well, I'm just saying, that was, obviously that's a childhood dream.
Okay.
I mean, when you're a child growing up, you don't think about hitting 62 home runs. I mean, you don't even know if you're going to get out of the backyard game. But obviously 62 and 70, 300, 400, 500 home runs that are very meaningful to me. These are all accomplishments that, my God, when I was starting to become a hitter back in '82, I never thought I'd ever do this. Are you kidding me? I mean, I still remember the time when I was in the Instructional League in Oakland and Arizona. I believe it was '84, '85, and one of the coaches came up to me and looked me point blank in the face and said, "Son, you're going to have to change your swing, because you're never going to be a big league hitter hitting the way you do." And you know what I said to him? I said, "How do you know? I've never been there." You don't know what a kid is going to do until he gets there and does it.
Right.
So look what happened.
Can you understand why they don't understand why you don't look at 600 with such reverence? And
because
ability to come back
it
and
goes
do
right
it.
back. I am not going to stick around the game to climb up the ladder of home runs. I've never been like that. I never will be like that. I've told myself that when I came. I've seen players hang around too long. Heck, the last year and a half, I basically wasn't even in existence in baseball, and I feel like I've been hanging around. I just don't like that.
Why do you take it so hard?
That's just the way I am. I'm that type of a person. I expect a lot out of myself, and if I can't do it to that level, I'm not going to hang around and do it. I'm sorry. I am. It's a level that hopefully a lot of people in sports today can get to, and they'll know what I'm talking about when they get there. If they can't perform that level, it's pretty embarrassing.
Some of these home runs that you hit were, but that's what captured the imagination of this country, Mark. And can you sit back and appreciate that, or no?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
I do. Obviously, I saw it this year with what Barry was doing, and what he did was absolutely phenomenal, and I couldn't be happier for him. And alongside him, they kept showing my home runs, so I got to see it. I got to admire it. The man upstairs gave me the ability to hit a home run. There's no question about it. You can't make a home run hitter. A home run hitter is born, and I've said this for so many years. There's a great athlete, great baseball player born every day, and it's just a matter of years before you find out who it is.
How much more of Rich's interview with Mark a little bit later on. The most lasting impact he might leave on this game could be as an instructor, whether it's back in baseball at a major league level or with his son and kids that age, because he is a great teacher.
Well, that certainly remains to be seen, and I'm sure we'll follow it, Carl.
In rarefied air, with a shot at pursuing Aaron, yet unable to eclipse Mendoza in his final season, Mark McGwire played through pain, played with frustration, still thrilled with his power, but disappointed himself with the results of this past season. Only 17 homers short of reaching 600. Could have gotten that. He hit a dozen more than that this past season, but to McGwire, the mere pursuit of a number wouldn't respect the game. More now of McGwire's exclusive conversation with Rich Eisen.
What do you think your legacy is going to be?
What I've just seen right now, just glancing through the papers, is I think it's 10.3. Every 10.3 at bats, well ahead of Babe, that's a legacy in its own. Will that be broken? I don't think so. And you see it, how many years I've played and how few at bats I've had. I mean, that's one every 10 at bats. It was almost guaranteed that I was going to hit a home run, and that's something I'm very proud of. So if you want to start there, you can start there.
Well, and a lot of the stories that we're seeing on your legacy and on your career so far, including some, what we've seen on this network, includes the mention of Andristine Dion.
Mm-hmm.
Does that tick you off at all?
Well, it ticks me off. God, I wish I would have bought stock in the damn stuff. I mean, that's the only thing that I leave the game that probably angers me more than anything, the way it was portrayed. It was what a waste of print, what a waste of film. There's nothing illegal about it. It has absolutely nothing to do with hitting a baseball. Like I've said since day one, it helped me get through my workouts after the game. I mean, if people saw my work ethic when I went into the weight rooms after games to work out, you need something to help you get through that workout. And then you need to take your protein and amino acids after the game or after your workout to replenish everything. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And to make me the poster child for that, it's just, believe me, 90% of athletes take something to help themselves out. And the way it was portrayed, it was like I was the only one that ever did it. And that's the only thing that probably angers me. And I would hope that people really would understand that it has nothing to do, and, period.
You're going to go into the Hall of Fame, clearly. Would you vote for yourself first ballot?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because when I was playing and you hear about 500 level, there's almost a guaranteed to go into the Hall of Fame. And then I reached it, and I was like, God, I think I'm gonna get a chance to do that. But when you're a young kid, you never play the game to go to the Hall of Fame. It's just something that comes after you have a fantastic career. And if the writers vote me in on the first time with Cal and Tony, God, that would be totally awesome.
You didn't want that farewell tour, so to speak?
It's so funny. If people really knew me and understood me, they know I wouldn't want that. It's like you do a farewell tour as a power hitter, and you walk in, they want to see you hit a home run. Hitting a home run is the hardest thing to do in baseball today. And, if I go up there and hit a base hit, I mean, my God, they were booing me when I hit a base hit in 98, 99.
What are your thoughts on contraction?
From a fan right now? Which I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I think it'd be in the best interest of baseball. I would be personally, as a fan, very saddened if it was the Minnesota Twins.
How about a guy named Jason Giambi?
Yeah, it's funny because I've been reading and hearing about that. I've been lobbying him to go there, and I really have not basically talked to him. So it's funny how things have started. I know the Cardinals are going to be very interested in him, and I know the Yankees are going to give a really good fight. So I will be happy to give him all the information he needs to become a Cardinal. And like I've said, there's not a better place to play in the country.
How about managing?
You go back to the state of the game, and I want to see what the state of the game is. I mean, I know I have a lot to offer, and I don't want to let it just sit. But I do know what I want to just stay away for a year or two. Mr. DeWitt last night asked me to come to spring training, and I said I'll think about it, but I just want to stay away. I think when you retire, you just have to get away from it. I mean, I'm always going to love baseball, and I'm going to miss it. But who's not going to miss anything they've been doing since they were 12 years old? But I think something that's really enticed me right now is the front office, maybe a GM.
And how about this, commissioner of baseball? Would you ever?
That would be enticing, but I don't know.
You could do it?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That'd be enticing.
Michael Jordan gave us 0.1% of a chance of a return. Any percentage from you?
0. It's easier probably to come back as a basketball player, because basketball, you control the game. I've always said this. Michael Jordan can control the game. Give me the ball. I'll do what I want with it. When you're a hitter and you're a power hitter, you're not in control of anything. The guy on the mound is in control, and there's absolutely no way. Zero. The only way you're going to see me back in baseball is in the front office or coaching.
Much more on Mark McGwire. Where does McGwire rank among the greats? Why step down now? All this and much more if you log on to ESPN.com, keyword Mark McGwire. You can find interesting stories, in-depth analysis from some of our finest writers like Tim Kurkjian from ESPN The Magazine and others. That's all on ESPN.com.
Take me out to the ball game. Llévame a gozar. Tayo ser tan kunga crack to check. Cause it's root for the home team. Si ne gagne pas, c'est dommage. When it's in, tres stripes va. It's the old ball game.
Championship with Mark McGwire.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end. People, let me tell you about him. He's so much fun. Yeah, he's my best friend.
Entered to win a trip to the baseball championship with Mark McGwire. Odds of winning depended on number of entries. Odds of becoming Mark McGwire's best friend, not as good.
In order for a youngster to be focused and mentally prepared, as far as I'm concerned, is the on-deck circle. You know, young kids today get on the on-deck circle, want to get loose, get ready. But that's where you have to study. That's where you have to watch where the pitcher is throwing his balls, see the movement, see the spin on his slider, his curveball, how his forkball, splitters is moving. It gives yourself a better chance of when you get in that box, you're mentally prepared and you're visualizing what you were seeing when you're in the on-deck circle. And that's how I go about my business. You hope it's a clear frame of mind. You have to be totally clear. Now I know it's impossible to play baseball every day of the year and to have a clear mind. You don't do that as a human being, but you got to get in that batter's box, and you can't think about anything except the baseball. If you're thinking about your feet, if you're thinking about your arms, your legs, your hands, you're not concentrating on seeing that ball. You know, hitting is difficult, but if you simplify it, it's not. It's see the ball and hit it. And that's, because when you're a little leaguer, that's all you do. You see it and you hit it. So when you advance up to the other levels, up to the big leagues, why should it be any different? It's the same game. It's just a much more experienced guy on the mound, but the same technique, see it and hit it. Well, it's everything. It's everything. I mean, it goes to studying the pitchers, studying wherever you're playing defense, studying the hitters, where they hit the ball, so you get a better jump defensively. Studying the game is so important. That's why videotape is, almost every big league ball club has a video room now where you can go in and you can study this. You can study the pitchers and study the hitters. It's just something in the game that you hope that youngsters get a chance to try it before they get into college or get into the big leagues. But I think it's something, if I talk about it, maybe the youngsters can go out there and study the way I study. Well, conditioning is such a big part of sport today. And baseball used to be just a 6-month sport. It's a 12-month sport now. Once the season's done with, you might give yourself a week or two off, but you got to get back in the weight room, get back out on the or if you're doing sprints or running, and get yourself ready for the next year. There hasn't been a baseball player yet that's ever played this game that has finished the season and said, that's the best I could do. There's always room for improvement. And conditioning is really your improvement area, because you can condition your body to maybe be stronger during the latter part of the year where you might not have been the year before. Via the weight room, via running, via agility drills, whatever it may be. I think the best thing as far as for a defensive player especially an infielder, because I can't speak for outfielders, is there's little things you can do. The number one thing is taking balls live off the bat. That's the only way you're going to learn how to get a jump off the ball when the guy's hitting it. There's other agility drills where you can have somebody that just constantly throws you the ball that way, and you're running and you're running and you're running. It's just what you're doing is you're sparking the little small fibers in your body that if you just jog down the street, you're not using. And I always tell everybody, they say, well, how do you feel coming into spring training? And I say, well, I feel great, but it doesn't matter because the things that you do during the winter, baseball, when you play the game of baseball, you're using those small fibers that a lot of time you're not using during the winter. But if you can constantly, especially youngsters today, if you can do little things that their coaches teach them, it'll help them out. The game's so special because it's the only one sport in America that every boy and girl has tried one time in their life. Baseball or softball. Somebody's always picked up a glove, somebody's always picked up a ball, and they've always picked up a bat. But you can't say that about golf, you can't say that about hockey, you can't say that about basketball or football. But that's why it's America's pastime. And that's why everybody relates to baseball players more than other athletes.
Born on October 1st, 1963 to John and Ginger McGwire, Mark grew up outside Los Angeles with 4 brothers.
My dad never got to play sports because he had polio when he was 7 years old. The first sport that we ever played as kids was golf because that was the one sport that my dad could play.
He was offered a scholarship in golf at USC and in baseball. So I said, I thought that he might make more money in golf. Thank God he didn't listen to me.
Oh, shot, man.
I'm telling you what, he put on some shows. Everybody on the range stopped and watched him hit these drives. Like no other player on the tour could do this. Even Nicklaus came over and said, he heard the sound that these golf balls are making.
Although he was drafted out of Damien High School by the Expos in 1981, McGwire accepted a baseball scholarship at nearby USC. A 500 pitcher as a freshman, he was switched to first base and promptly set a school record with 19 home runs. As a junior, he broke the Pac-10 mark by hitting 32.
He was a force in college with the aluminum bat, and he just transferred right over with the same swing with the wooden bat. It was no surprise that when he left college to play with the Oakland A's that he won Rookie of the Year and set a home run record as a rookie.
In 1987, 3 years after McGwire was drafted by the A's in the first round, he had a chance to make history.
He had 49 home runs. He had a chance to hit his 50th on the last day of the season, become the first rookie to ever do this. And instead goes to the birth of his son. That was an early sign that Mark McGwire kind of knew what was important in life.
The big year in '87, financial stability, fame and notoriety. When you walk in the house when the baby's crying and needs to be fed, well, guess what? All of a sudden you're not that famous anymore. You like to think that most players can separate that when you have troubles at home. I think in Mark's case, yeah, it probably affected him.
In 1989, with their son Matthew a toddler, McGwire and his wife Kathy were divorced. Although the first baseman hit 72 home runs over the next 2 seasons, his average slipped into the 230s. In 1991, he slumped even further, 22 homers and a 201 average.
And if you booze, the ooze out of the crowd in the Coliseum, as McGwire continues to struggle, he's 0 for his last 13.
I went to Tony the last game. I was scared to death, and I said, Tony, I have to hit above 200. If I play this game, I'm not going to have I know I'm not going to have a chance. I mean, that's how bad the year was going.
A lot of people started getting down on him and wondering if he was going to be the player that he came in the league as.
There were a number of trades that the A's had tried to pull off
that were declined by the club because other clubs thought that Mark might be at the end.
That was the first time in my life that I took things for granted. I didn't work out, you know. I didn't really do anything to improve my game. I thought I was good enough to get by, and I wasn't. I made a decision. I need to go see a psychologist. I need to get my life in gear. I am not the same person today when I was back 91 in the earlier years of my career. I've totally flip-flopped my life.
It takes real courage to bare your soul and give people a full disclosure on what makes you tick rather than trying to hide it. The fact that he has the courage and the manhood to say, I needed therapy, or I needed to patch up my relationship at home, and I needed to do more for my son, that's the definition of a man.
I was doing some interviews with him, and he talked at length about how he vowed never to embarrass himself when he looked in the mirror again. And I think a lot of that, he lived by those principles.
McGwire bounced back in 1992, hitting 42 homers and raising his batting average 67 points. Over the next 4.5 seasons, his home run production rose and fell with his health, from a low of 9 in 1993 and 94 to a high of 52 in 1993.